is recording. So, welcome everyone to the DLC of the DLC podcast. We are basically, as we discussed in the first, and if you've listened to our first podcast about DLCs and expansions, we talked about maybe doing a part two, discussing our favorite stuff and all that. And I kept delaying it. It took very long, but here we are. I'm joined tonight again by Mr. Slowly. Um,
Yo.
yeah, other two pages unfortunately had some other commitments, but that's fine. I thought we would just throw our stuff out there, and I think this is also a nice podcast to uh, have a little bit of a comment section, a little bit of discourse in the comment section, because I mean you can share what your favorite DLC was, what it meant for you, and all that. This is a very loose one compared to the other one, but we're just basically going to talk and let it flow for a bit and see where we go. So.
Yep.
Mr. Slow, let's start off with probably the most obvious one, or the most obvious question right now. What is your favorite DLC currently?
Okay. So I would say it's a very close choice between Ghost of Tsushima's Iki Island and Assassin's Creed Origins Hidden Ones DLC.
Hidden Ones DLC, yeah. Not Valhalla?
Oh hell no. Bro, are you kidding me? The fuck? Don't even mention that game.
Valhalla?
No.
As in
Dude.
God of War Ragnarok's DLC, not Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Oh. Okay, yeah. Yeah, Valhalla, yes. Valhalla is also a pretty good DLC. Even though I feel like we didn't need it. I mean, bro, it's more Kratos, it's more lore, so I mean, who cares, right?
Yeah. No, I feel like what you did mention with okay, I haven't played the Ghost of Tsushima one. I badly need to at some point do Iki Island. But
Yeah.
what you did mention, and what I do remember from Assassin's Creed Origins, that DLC really also was a great touching point for Bayek and Aya, in terms
Oh
of
yeah, for
their
sure.
story and stuff like that. And the whole creation of the Assassin Order thing before it was the Assassin
Yeah.
Order. So that DLC I think brings a lot of the game full circle, which is fantastic to see. So that one I definitely love. Yeah, it's weird talking about the modern Assassin's Creed games. Like Origins is starting to more and more stand out, like as a standout game. The more I think
Yeah,
about it, because
for
how
sure.
many? If I'm trying to think about the timeline now, it's obviously Valhalla, but that's not very good for me. Mirage, I haven't played, but based on the gameplay, that the reason I never did Mirage was it still had. I know they said, oh, they stripped it back. They went back to the basics. They went for a smaller map. They went for more of the vibes of the old games, but it still had a lot of RPG stuff in it, which for me,
Yeah.
a little bit of a turn off. I think,
But I mean,
yeah,
to be fair though, it's definitely a lot better than having to grind for levels just to fucking complete the main story campaign. So I mean, I guess there's that.
there is that. I just wish they went with a complete decision, like said we are definitely going back to make a game resembling what the the first trilogy or Black Flag and all those ones were. Like,
Yeah.
I'd love to see another game just in the now, but like make a game back then. Because yeah, it's nice to replay those games, but I want another story and I want to have that experience again. Because, like I said, having an RPG like that, it does make stealth, the point of Assassin's Creed and stealth like that, difficult. Like,
Oh yeah, for sure.
I can, like I did in Odyssey and Origins, I can just sit in a bush and try and be quiet and sneak around and stuff. But the problem is, once they spot me, I'm stuck in like half an hour of fighting because of the RPG stuff. Because like these freaking these enemies tank so many hits that it takes
Yeah.
so long for me to clear something like a fortress or something out. Whereas even if it gets spotted, let's say in the old games, if you know your parries, your counters, or whatever, you can clear out that fortress 10 minutes tops. Just
Oh, not even 10 minutes. You could do it in 3.
yeah, because
Bro, I don't think you realize how overpowered the counter kills were in
in
the
three,
Ezio games.
In
and
number
3.
three, it was
Like they were
stupid.
so quick. Yeah.
Dude, I remember clearly in Assassin's Creed 3, one of my favorite things to do because combat-wise, I think 3 has to be my favorite combat-wise. Combat-wise, I love
Yeah.
3. Um,
I would say it would be AC3 first,
mm,
then Brotherhood,
mm.
and then maybe Unity, I would say, as an honorable mention.
Unity had also great combat. I think the thing is, the combat in Unity was just a little bit more punishing uh,
Yeah.
because of the guns and stuff. I think because of they were much better with their firearms than they were, for example, in 3. In 3, they were quite rubbish, except for the officers.
Yeah.
But yeah, on that little tangent, basically, as you mentioned with the hidden ones, very necessary DLC. Oh, there's a bunch of DLCs actually in between. Assassin's Creed has also had quite a few decent ones. Freedom Cry is the one that comes to mind. I think that was the Black Flag one.
Yeah.
Adewale's story, that was quite a good one. Um, I don't know the Odyssey ones too much because I didn't enjoy Odyssey all that much, but I do know that Fate of Atlantis was quite a big DLC, and it's one of the only DLCs or expansions ever in the whole series to talk about the first civilization people. They call it
Yeah.
Isu now. They call it Isu now, but like the first civilization people that the whole story was about, that like mixed of humans and made assassins. So
Yeah.
kind of an interesting DLC also to talk about it, even if it's from a game that I don't particularly enjoy. Um,
Yeah. You want to know what's crazy though?
mm,
So if you've played Assassin's Creed Odyssey,
mm,
like just the base game, right?
mm,
So you know how the game has like Assassin's Creed in its logo?
yes.
There is no mention of the Creed, the Brotherhood, the creation of the Hidden Blade, nothing.
Mm. In Odyssey.
Yeah.
No, I know.
Until they decided to make a DLC tied to that and having some guy be like the first one to wield the Hidden Blade and then have like some story where like some small girl was Aya.
Mm.
Like what?
Mm. Mm. No, I know. That's the main one of the main reasons I struggled with Odyssey. I love the world of Odyssey. I adored it because Greek mythology is like something I'm very. It's Egyptian first for me, and then Greek, and then Norse.
Yeah.
Like I like Norse, but Norse is a little bit too much. I don't know. The Greek one is a little bit more of a. I feel always like the Norse one is almost kind of like scary stories and animals and stuff, where Greek is more about the powers or whatever. In a way, I don't know how to describe it, but the
Yeah.
Greek one's more classic.
I get you.
So I love the Greek idea. I love the world. I love the stuff like that. But as you said, there's not a single mention of assassins in there. One, and you've just done. So now the thing is, you've just done Origins. And I saw in
Yeah.
Origins the creation of the Assassin Order. I literally saw it in the ending cutscene where I establishes the Assassin Order and stuff like that. And now I'm
Uh
playing
huh.
Odyssey, which time wise takes place before Origins. So I know in my head, like, well, they can't create the Assassin Order here. It shouldn't exist. So what on earth what are they gonna
Yep.
do? And what they've gone with is they basically just let us play as a mercenary. And I was like,
Yep.
it's not it's not an assassin. This is a mercenary. This is a completely different game.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly. Like it.
put that as a new IP. I would have had no problem with it. Put it as a
Oh,
new
for sure.
IP
Like
with new stuff and like that. No problem with it. My only problem is they labeled it as Assassin's Creed game. It's it's
yeah.
not.
I think people who've played Odyssey can safely say that like it should have been its own game. Like
Mm,
it should not have had the Assassin's like name on there or IP.
no, I definitely agree. Like it should have been its own IP. It should have. Then they could have had a way more direction with it as well. Because like as an RPG,
Yeah.
it's really pretty good. You do get some cool storylines, some cool consequences for your actions and stuff like that that you don't even realize. Like you can send. I think this one family was very sick with a fever and stuff like that, for example. And your quest line is like the gods have trapped the family, and like they have a priest of them, and the priest is like, well, we don't know what to do with this infection, so unfortunately we're gonna have to burn the family. And you can choose to save them or
Yeah.
not. Save them. Obviously, the priests and people attack you. You can kill them, save the family, send them home to their town, or you can not interfere and they get burned and stuff. So obviously, if you choose to save them, the entire town dies of the disease a week or so later, and you only learn
Yep.
about it in game. Someone comes up and says, "Oh my goodness, this whole town dead from the plague," and you're like, "Oops."
Yeah. I mean, not my problem, dude.
Yeah. So, but yeah. Anyway, like, yeah, I can rage about Odyssey all I want. But yeah, it was nice to hear you mention Hidden Ones. I do think people who haven't checked out Origins and look at the modern Assassin's Creed games,
Oh,
if you can put your
also
mind
something I want to
past,
say.
yeah,
Something I want to say. On the topic of Origins.
yes,
So, uh, so I've joined the Origins subreddit, like the AC Origins subreddit, and
mm,
like apparently there was a post where like the two lead actors for Origins, like the guy who played Bayek and Aya,
yeah.
they said that they wanted a sequel. They wanted to like revisit, and like that's such a fucking missed opportunity.
It would be interesting because then you'd actually be able. See, then Aya would have to take the lead because then you'd have to see the
Yeah,
creation of the Assassin Order. That would have been interesting as well. It
oh, yeah, for
gives.
sure.
It would have given Aya also an opportunity to have her own game, which is warranted because she's also a really strong character, a really
Yeah, and I
really
mean she
strong
was
character.
hinted like in Assassin's Creed 2, so it's like
Mm,
it would have been nice.
it would. It would. As for my favorite, we know my favorites. It's still
Oh yeah,
Phantom Liberty to this day. At this point, like
can we talk about that? Like,
I
can you actually like just geek out about it because like you talk about it a lot.
know I do. I know. You'd have to start from the beginning of the whole cyberpunk thing because the thing is, you start off obviously for those of you who haven't played cyberpunk, please go play it. Click off this video now. I don't mind. Just click off this video, go play cyberpunk. I don't want you to learn this, but for those of you who have played it,
Yep.
you know the story now. You wake up or you go to Night City because you're a person who's looking for opportunity for jobs, for gigs, whatever. Same old thing. Everyone's going to the city for make money. You come across this
Yeah.
guy you're sneaking with into Night City at the point, Jackie. You have this whole ordeal with him, all the stuff, and like a lot of stuff leads to another. You get a big score that you're setting up for this one guy, and you have to steal this very important relic and stuff. You go into Arasaka to steal the relic, and no, Arasaka is like almost like the Yakuza style people. You do not want to mess with them, really. But this is the big
Mm-hmm.
score, so you chance it. You and Jackie go in. Job goes sideways. You escape with the builder better alive. Jackie, unfortunately, does die on the way out, which was quite impactful. I would have preferred a little bit more of the first act in Cyberpunk, where you play a little bit more with Jackie and stuff like that, because he dies quite soon.
Yeah, for sure.
But I do digress. So in the end, to protect the relic, because you didn't want it to find, you insert the relic into your head. Um, the job goes sideways. You go meet up with the fixer, the person who gave you the job, and you say, "Listen, it's hit the fan. So what's the plan here?" And he basically just puts a bullet between your eyes, and you supposedly die. You do die, actually.
Yeah.
Thing is, when you die, the relic activates because it's a soul, secure your soul killer Ingram relic. And what it basically does is it revives you, but now it's taking over your very psyche, your very soul because of that. So you wake up in this landfill, barely alive, getting hunted down by Arasaka goons and stuff. You don't even know what's going on at this point. You go to the dock because you need to get patched up, and the doc says, "Listen, you're gonna die. You're gonna die really soon. This thing's gonna take over your brain, your psyche, your soul, and it's gonna eat you from the inside out." At this point, he doesn't know what to do. He suggests just living out your days, and stuff like that, and hits you as like a truck. You don't want to accept it at this point, but obviously you're starting having these visions of the Johnny Silverhand or Keanu Reeves. You're starting to, become more desperate as time goes on. You start
Yeah.
to have these conversations with the Arasaka agent who was chasing you, who's now like he wants to use you to for his own plot and schemes because stuff went down at Arasaka that you were a witness to while you were robbing the place, and he knows he
Mm-hmm.
can use you, and he says, "No, Arasaka will take care of you if you help us because they." They obviously will too, obviously.
Yeah, surely.
But yeah, it boils down basically to you starting to figure out how the hell am I going to survive this? Am I going to be able to survive this somehow? And a lot of stuff leads to another. You need to obviously figure out who made this engram and stuff like that. So that's the first one. You need to track the person down. You need to find any people who can help you with this, who's skilled at net running and stuff like that, who can maybe figure it out. You meet a lot of characters. I don't have time to go through each one. Uh, just know
Yeah.
Pan Am is the best. Just take that. Take my word
True.
for it. But yeah, so a lot of things boil down, and in the original ending, you have your choices of endings and stuff like that when it comes to a head, because your condition is worsening. You can take as many blocker pills and
Yeah.
stuff as you want to, but at the point is you've reached a point of no return, and you need to decide now what you want to do. Like, you can end your own life then and there if you feel like it's too much and you don't want to put the people you care about at risk, because the most of the options are going, you have to storm Arasaka again, steal the plans and schematics that you know are there, and the Makoshi is like basically think of it as a server full of all these souls, and by freeing or destroying Makoshi, you're freeing all these souls, and the idea is that technically then these souls will go beyond the black wall, and so will yours, the one trying to take over your mind, which is Johnny in this case. So that's the idea. That's what you got. So if you want to do that option, you're gonna have to choose who you going with to try and help it. You could go on your own and with Johnny and stuff like that. You could go with Johnny's party, who's rogue, and all those people. You can go with Pan Am,
Yeah.
which I do as that ending. Like, there's a lot of things, because the thing is, with Johnny's ending and stuff, your success is pretty much not guaranteed. Like, you're going out in a blaze of glory, basically, but it's on your terms, and like, you're not bringing anyone else into the fight. Now, I chose Pan Am basically because in the storyline of Pan Am, you integrated into it as a family and stuff like that, and what you were prepared to do for a family, you need to understand it reciprocates. They're also prepared to do stuff for you. It's just unfortunate, like,
Yeah.
your situation is a bit more costly, and some people do lose their lives and stuff like. So that was the original endings and stuff, and most of the endings do end up, unfortunately, in your death, like in a little bit of a grim dark one, which is normal for the cyberpunk world. Pan Am's one is the most hopeful out of the ones. It's not. It's a very open-ended ending, and the chances are like you might not even survive it. But the thing is, you're giving yourself the best chance. Pan Am is a good thinker, and like, you're living with the people you care about. So even if it's just a few months, you're going to have a hell of a lot of time better having those few months than what you were sitting in Night City rotting away. So those were the
Yeah.
original endings. Then the DLC Phantom Liberty came in, which takes place right after, like, I think halfway between Act 2 or something. You get this call from someone, Somi or Songbird, and they don't tell you much, but they tell you they know about the thing in your head, which immediately should trigger something in you, because like, you're not just going out there willy nilly to people. You have like a soul killer nuke in your head that's killing you. So something like is intriguing about this, and she says she has a mission for you, but it's of high importance. You go to the location, which is a new part of town called Dogtown, and you learn, well, this is very serious, because it's regarding the president of the NUSA, which is New United States. So it's President Myers. She have to secure her. You have to be part of a detail now. You have to secure her because yeah, people looking for her, especially people in Dogtown. And it's basically at that point you go and rescue her and stuff like that, and you keep her in a like a safe house type of thing, and you meet up then
Yeah.
with Solomon Reed. And basically, now the thing is, you need to get her out of Dogtown, but you can't just leave. Like, they are actively searching for you and stuff. So you need to take down the organization within Dogtown from the inside out. That'll involve Kurtans and stuff, and just to learn more about like what happened, like who shot down President Myers plane out of the sky, because obviously that will be a crime that they can be tried for. So you go
Yeah.
through the whole
For
thing, go
sure.
through the whole organization. You meet Solomon Reed, who's played by Idris Elba, fantastic character, that one. You meet Songbird, who's
True.
also a fantastic character. I forget the voice actor's name, but she was fantastic as well. Um, most of them, and then your story begins. So Songbird is uh, technically captured at some point during this. That's the other thing. You need to find Songbird. I forgot she's captured in the beginning as well. So you can't just leave because you need to find her first. and you learn she is being held by this organization run by Kurt Hansen. So you go undercover, you do your whole spy thing, and it's building up to a very nice spy thriller. That's what the first half of the DLC was, just being a casual spy thriller, typical stuff, going undercover, infiltrating, espionage, this type of stuff, and you learn more about the agents and stuff, how there was like double crossing, and how they do stuff still for loyalty and for the code and all that stuff, and how it's a lot of discussion about like loyalty, where your loyalty lies, and all that stuff, and obviously, Somi or Songbird did promise she can fix you. She can fix your situation. She'll show you how because she actually managed to turn Johnny off in your brain. So it's to tell you she's not bluffing. She can do a lot of stuff because
Yeah.
she has the same. She has a similar problem in her head as well. She's also dying, which you also find out later when it's revealed she's dying as well. And it's like she's now because she was snapped up as a teen basically to come work for the FIA, and they did so much experimentation and stuff like that. They basically fried her neuro to a point like where she's also being taken over by AI actually because she was exposed to what's beyond the black wall, which is very bad in itself. So it becomes like a race against time because now you want to save Somi, you need to go through the spy stuff and all that, and you basically set up this heist mission as well again, um, to get into Konpeki Plaza. It's a Konpeki. No, it's not Konpeki Plaza. That's the Arasaka one. But anyway, you set up this heist mission because now you need to get into the organization and you need to free Songbird. Now you and Songbird have a conversation that once you're out, she's going to create a distraction and you and her run away together to go get a cure away from Kurt Hansen, but also away from the FIA. She does not want them to follow her. She wants to be free from everyone, to live by herself. She'll get the cure. The FIA, when you talk to them, is we need to get Songbird because something's wrong with her, and she can be. She's once the AI takes over, it's going to be really bad because of her net running abilities and all that. So we need to get her out, take her to the FIA so she can be fixed and stuff like that. And that's where your decision comes in because now, obviously, she's been FIA's experiment basically for years, and she wants to be free. So your decisions start to boil down. You get to this point in the game. Uh, Now, in my case, I decided because Songbird lied about a bunch of stuff during the game. It's like it's not even subtle. She does like they openly talk about it and all that stuff. But there's reasoning sometimes behind it. But it's like sometimes to say like she doesn't seem like she's redeeming herself. That's how I felt. So I thought if we take her to the FIA, maybe she'll agree herself. She's obviously extremely against it. She goes rogue. She blows up the place.
Yeah.
She goes on a rampage, and I'm trying to find her, and she's gone down into this old facility and stuff. And basically find her down there fighting a bunch of old AI and stuff like that on the way down. This is the one I was streaming back then as well. And you eventually get to her, but now, like I said, the AI has been wrecking her, and you have these flashing backstories of her and everything about like everything she's gone through. And the AI has been wrecking her, and you finally get to her, and like I said, you have choices here again. You can either wait for Solomon to turn her over to the FIA, but then like she's just going back into custody, back into being the experiments and stuff like that. And she's sitting there, she's begging you to kill her. She's like, I'd rather die than go back to them. And that she's in a really bad state. So at my point of the thing is like, I don't. Some people do turn her over to the FIA because I'll talk about the other part now. Some people do talk about her going back to the FIA and stuff like that, but like I thought, it's also you're putting a weapon again in the hands of the FIA, which seems dangerous. So I killed her
Yeah.
for her own wish and for the FIA, and I thought the killing her was the best option in the end, and I'll get back to that now because those are the two options going down this road. The other road being she creates a distraction, you run away with her. When that happens, she uses a lot of her powers, and I mean a lot, to ward off like the because obviously you've created a distraction. Now you need to escape, and there's a lot of those other guys. The Dogtown, I think it's called Barguest, is the organization's name. Barguest. There's a lot of Barguest guys going everywhere, and she's used a lot of her powers to get out of there, and she passes out. Her powers have completely overwhelmed her, and she's like slowly but surely losing her mind again towards the AI. So she's like slipping in and out of consciousness, and you eventually get out there and stuff like that, and you're on your way to this rocket because the station you need to go to is on the moon. That's where the doctors is and stuff. She believes. I can't remember who it was that says they will fix you. But on the bus, she reveals that the cure is only going to work for one of you. Um, they don't have enough power basically to. I don't remember why, but the cure can only work for one of you because of some sort of thing, and she's been carrying that with her the whole time. So at this point, you have this thing. She goes out completely unconscious, and she says you have to understand. She tried to help her get out of everything, but yeah, she was trying to just save herself and all that, similar to what you've been doing in the base game.
Mm-hmm.
She passes out, she goes unconscious completely, and you get this messages from Solomon Reed communication. And your decision here is either you go through with the plan, you let her get cured, or you turn her over to the FIA. At this point,
Ooh.
you can rat because she's unconscious, so it's not like she's gonna know. And again, even if you step out, Solomon Reed catches you in front of the rocket that's going to send you to the moon, and he pulls his gun and he says, "Listen, you drop her now and give her over, or I'm going to shoot you." And obviously, if you carry through with it, if you go to the rocket, you're going to have to kill Solomon Reed on the way, which is already a sad thing because he was so. He has his own backstory, which I won't get into, but he has also a very, very good story. Very, very good developing story of how the FI betrayed him, but he still stayed loyal and all that, and he still died kind of for them and stuff like that. So you can go through with that, put her on the rocket, she goes up. You don't know what happens to her. You assume she gets fixed, but obviously now you're still sitting with your problem and all that. That's the other ending, which some people find hopeful. I find it dangerous because she's a very dangerous AI, and now you've sent her to the one place where it can get onto the net and start infecting people like crazy. So I think it's a very dangerous
Yeah.
one, even if you find it selfless. The other one, turning to FIA, same more or less as the other side, where you also fight and stuff, and you turn over to the FIA. In both those cases, like the FIA takes her in, she's sent to their medical team, and then actually what I forgot is if you do turn over to the FIA, though, the FIA promises you a cure, which you find out if you go through with it, their cure is legitimate. It's a legitimate cure. They do cure you from your
Oh.
disease, but you slip into a 2-year coma while going through it. So when you wake up, none of your people is around anymore. They've gone out of Night City. Panam's gone to the Badlands. She's gone completely. She's gone with her nomad tribe. Judy's gone. She's gone to Pittsburgh or something like that to live there. But even in the base game, she was hinting at moving in anyway. Um, all who's left is Victor, and he's now also working. He's not working for himself anymore. He's working for Zenitech. So everyone you knew and loved has moved on. You have no one left. The
Yeah.
other thing is because of the traumatic fix and stuff like that, you cannot have any more cybernetic enhancements anymore. Your body's not compatible, so you cannot do any more jobs for fixes or nothing. You're basically a squishy human stuck in cyberpunk space, and you just have to live your life. So you can see that situation as good or bad. Bad being like everyone's left you behind, and you really have nothing like left to
Yeah.
carry over into your new life. Or you can see it as it's a new beginning and new start and you can live now properly. But like I said, I don't know how I feel about the new part of that because I actually cherished a lot of what I had in Night City, even if I went to go out in style and stuff like that. So that's the thing. That was the thing about Phantom Liberty. It like I already had the base game where I had these choices and stuff like that really already gave me proper heartache and stuff like that about like the game.
Mm.
And then they make a DLC which felt like just a cool spy thriller distraction expansion. And then at the end of this freaking second half of the DLC, I'm left with more of these bloody choices that I had in the base game, man. I was like, oh, really? Come on. At some point, I was just like, oh, come on, man. Like, I don't want to go through it again. My heart is throbbing. It hurts.
Yeah.
But that is the gist and the thing about Phantom Liberty. It just built upon what the base game did. It introduced a lot more mechanics, new part of town, a lot of gigs and stuff, like a lot of content, and just gave you more painful choices. So I think it ticked all the boxes for me. And because it enhanced the experience of Cyberpunk so much, which was a game I already loved, that's why it sits at the favorite. It's really
Yeah.
like insanely good, insanely well done. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, like I said, it's just sad that I know now that's the only expansion they plan to release for the Cyberpunk, which it does hurt a little bit because I would have liked to spend more time in the world. I can spend more time in the world, but yeah, at least they did it very, very right in the end. Very right.
Yeah.
So that's my favorite. I'm gonna have to walk a little bit back now to think about the other DLCs that I've played recently because you've mentioned now your Hidden Ones one. You've mentioned God of War Ragnarok Valhalla, which you said okay, it's not necessary, but Kratos did have a good story um, in that game, like in terms of like more lore for Kratos. And the other one you
Yeah.
mentioned, I'm trying to think now. What was the other one you mentioned?
It was Ghost.
Ghost of Tsushima, the Iki Island one. Yeah, that's also another one. Like
Yeah.
another, I'm assuming just another good one where you learn more about probably. What was Iki Island again? Invasion? Was it about Mongol
Uh,
invasion?
no, it was Jin's backstory, and it's just more of him
Mm.
and his father.
Okay, yeah, because his father, he was taken up by Lord Shimura. I don't remember much about his father. I'd have to
Uh,
replay Tsushima again.
no, his so Jin's father
Oh, he got
like
slain.
died to
I
some.
remember. Yes, he got
Yeah.
slain because Jin wouldn't like act quick enough. He was frozen basically,
Yeah.
and the was it? No, it wasn't the Mongols. It was another. It was a rival
It was
clan.
some.
Rival clan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Now I remember now. I remember because he kept looking at his father's armor or something like that, and his father also had
Yeah.
the mask that he keeps wearing.
Yep.
Um, yeah, no, that would be a good DLC. I do need to get into that one at some point. I'm trying to think back now. About ones before that. Like I said, I was gonna struggle. I was gonna struggle because I don't know my DLCs too well. Well, the one we played recently, Valley of the Yetis, that was quite a fun one.
Oh yeah.
Like that's the other part of DLCs. Like we're talking about a lot of story DLCs now. Obviously, I can also talk about Blood and Wine and Hearts of Stone from The Witcher. That's another fantastic story DLC and all that. But there's also the other side of the coin, which is just it doesn't need to be a story DLC, just fun parts of games, new DLCs and stuff. So as I said, Valley of the Yetis comes to mind because it was a completely different experience to the normal Far Cry 4. I mean, Far Cry 4 when it came out, like I said at this one, it's my favorite Far Cry, just because it takes all the great things about 3 with a little bit of a weaker story, but I digress. All the great things about 3 and improves upon them so massively that it really feels like a
Yeah.
definitive Far Cry experience, especially when you do the co-op. Because when you do the co-op, you can play the whole campaign through and all that, and you can play, just mess around and co-op and stuff. But Valley of the Yetis was like almost particularly designed to be a co-op game because it felt like a different flavor. I mean, it was all the tower defense stuff with each knight surviving the
Yeah.
Yetis, and like the story in Far Cry Valley of the Yetis was almost like non-existent. Really, it had a little bit of a story, but like it was mostly about the multiplayer, and it felt like a
Yeah.
new region of the Himalayas. So that was I liked how that was catered. Um, just trying to think now. Other fun ones. Did you do the Doom ones? But you haven't played Doom Eternal.
I haven't played Doom Eternal. No.
Hmm.
I've
No.
done 2016. It doesn't have DLC.
Mm-mm.
It's more just like multiplayer stuff. So
Yeah. No. Doom 2016. I remember was the best classic version of Doom ever. It's still my favorite compared to Eternal, as I've mentioned. purely because
Yeah.
it's way more like classic Doom than Eternal is. Eternal's a beautiful modern Doom, but I like classic Doom better than modern Doom.
Oh yeah, for
Um,
sure.
so Eternal has some DLCs, quite nice ones. I think it's the what's it called? The Ancient Ones. I think it's called the
Yeah.
Ancient Gods or
Mm-hmm.
Ancient Ones. I can't remember, but it's got like 1 and 2. That was apparently pretty fantastic DLCs. I still have to get around to them as well at some point, but they were apparently very good. But I heard at some point you fight 2 Marauders at once. I was like, oh hell no, not them again. I honestly hate that anyway. Like I know people, there's videos out there of how to easily beat them. Let me tell you, people, I can't defeat a Marauder easily. I struggle, man. I struggle.
I mean, bro, you kind of just, I don't know, you just spam the same overpowered weapons. That's kind of just how you do it.
Yeah, well, Marauder's a little bit. Okay, I know what a Marauder you could do. Like, there's a few ways to do it. Um, what was the other one? I'm trying to like see. I'm going back in time in my mind now because I think it's easier if I do it sequentially. Valley of the Yetis was recent.
Yeah.
The Doom Eternal things I was thinking about. Blood and Wine, Hearts of Stone. I've said there's fantastic DLCs with plenty of content. Um, hmm. DLCs. You know, the thing is also, I think DLCs, as we've mentioned on our previous podcast, is something that really came into the light once the online components of a lot of games came in. Like once the Xbox Live marketplace was around, once the PlayStation online components was around and stuff like that. So, like, I can't even think that far back to PS2 days and stuff like that because there wasn't any DLCs on console. Um, and I didn't at any point in my childhood own a very good PC to say like, oh, I remember the DLCs from so many years ago for my PC because I played them because I didn't. I've mentioned the only
Yeah.
DLCs I've really played PC wise was from my Age of Empires sets because those were fantastic DLCs
Ooh.
that like that was also fun. Like you had a um but it's like it's basically like almost like it's almost basically a completely new game, even in that sense for Age of Empires and RTS. Because I know some DLCs are just new maps and stuff like that, but the DLCs for Age of Empires almost felt like a standalone game because it was a completely new campaign. Because Age of Empires 3, the standalone, is literally the expedition into the new world. So it's like you, no, one of those first explorers. I'm trying to. I think it's Morgan Black or whatever. Captain Morgan Black, and I think literally the story was like you are going into the new world. You have to establish yourself there. The Spanish or the British or someone's already there, and you have a fight. And everyone's trying to find the fountain of youth. That's what I remember. It was quite a interesting story for Assassin's Creed, Age of Empires 3.
Assassin's Creed.
Hey man, you never know. That might have been one. Apple of Eden is basically the fountain of youth or whatever. Um,
Yeah, probably.
so that was one. But I was more intrigued by the Asian Dynasty's story, which is the DLC. The Asian Dynasty story was uh I think you played as the I don't remember if they had multiple stories because you obviously get different kingdoms in Asian dynasties. You get the Japanese during the Shogun eras, and you get the Chinese during the Zen dynasty, the very strong dynasty, which I think is the Zeng or the Xing dynasty. And then you also get the Indian during the War of Independence, which is when the British East India Company took over. So you had a very that's the campaign I remember the most. You had a very good campaign about these guys basically fighting for the British. Um, and they were okay with it at first. Like they like obviously I mean they are getting taken over, but they thought like okay, we're in the service of the British. It's fine, we're soldiers and stuff like that. And then at some point in the game, I remember he had to execute someone. And I think the thing is, the new rifles. Literally, this was a story point. This was quite freaky for me as a 10-year-old because I didn't understand at the point how serious it was. But like, the new rifles, because what he had to do to load the rifle something is he had to bite it like this and like to load it or something. And what he had to
Yeah.
bite into was made of pig. And he tried to explain to his British officer, it's against my religion. I can't do this to load it or touch it because it's against my religion. And he basically said, listen, I can't do this. It's like, I would be committing sacrilege. And the British officer's adamant, like, I don't care what you say,
Holy
execute this
based.
man now. And basically, the Indian guy is like, all right, bet. He takes the gun, he bites down, he loads, and he shoots the British guy. And I think that's where it kicks off, because then the British people, obviously they're outnumbered massively. We're talking about like they employed a bunch of Indians into the British East Indian Company, so they can't just lash out at them because they're severely outnumbered. So they retreat. They said, listen, you've made a mistake. We're gonna go get our big boys now, and you're gonna die. And basically from there on, you begin the rebellion, the War of Independence, and that's how the story plays out. Really good story. I like that one quite a lot. I would like to play it again actually, just to fully experience it now. But that was a really good story. Um, See, that's such a jump for me because that was my earliest DLC. That's definitely my earliest DLC. That was 2011. I want to say 2011, 2010, probably 2011. Uh, the only PC DLC obviously I've ever had because those are almost the only games that my PC ever ran. So yeah, and then like I said, then I'm jumping to Witcher, the Witcher one where I accidentally got all my DLCs, but I have mentioned that story, like the way I bought Witcher on Christmas for myself. I said I have some money from Christmas, I'm gonna pay for it. I had 500. I got 500 for Christmas. I went into Musica. I said I want to play a new game,
Huge.
and I haven't. I remember I read the Nag review or something on The Witcher. Highly recommended. I said I want to play an RPG. I don't want to just play Skyrim. I want to play a proper RPG. I went in. I checked. I said, okay, Witcher's there. I'm gonna pay for Witcher. It's exactly 500 bucks. I was like, okay, it's fine. You know, I'll blow all my Christmas money, but it's fine. I'm getting a new game. And she gets the thing off the case, and obviously they don't come with the discs. They're just there for
Yeah.
display. So she tries to get the disc on the back. She comes back with this disc, and at that point I was still very anxious to talk to people. At this point I didn't care anymore. But at that point I was still anxious. But I remember the disc she brought back was like Lara Croft Tomb Raider remastered. That was the disc she
Oh,
brought back.
hell yeah.
And I was looking at the disc and I was like, I have two options here. I can tell her it's the correct disc, or I can tell her no, it's the wrong disc. I want to play The Witcher. And I said no, it's the wrong disc. I do want to play The Witcher. And like she looks down at the one and the other one in the. I remember the other one in the other shop. I think worked there longer than she did. She's like, Witcher. She sends her to the back or something like that. And she comes back and she brings a disc and it says The Witcher 3 Game of the Year Edition on the disc. And she says, is this the correct one? I looked down
Ooh.
and I said yes. Because I knew that's the one of the DLCs. And she put it in the thing and I bought it for 500 bucks.
Hey, easy, bro. Easy. Hey,
And
a win is a win.
I took home a 800 rand game for 500 bucks and I enjoyed the two DLCs very muchly on Christmas. So that was a Christmas gift to myself.
Nice.
So yeah, that's the jump. See, 2011 to 2016. There's probably a few games in between, but like, yeah, I don't know. How far back can you go with your DLCs? Because like, that's my jumps I can do.
So, okay, so this is gonna sound like really weird, right? So, I did not own like a PS3 or an Xbox 360. I was hard stuck on a PS2, right?
Mm.
And
You went PC
the only
after
games
that,
that
though,
were
didn't you?
yeah, but I only played CS on that really,
Mm.
because like, bro, the prices on Steam for games is really expensive. Like, it
Yeah,
is crazy, dude. They are still charging God of War 2018 like $700.
I know. It's
Like,
bad.
what?
It's everywhere. It's bad.
But so yeah, I think the closest thing that came to a DLC for me were like the like tiny collabs that some games would do. So like
Yes.
the most recent example is like Metal Gear Solid. So Metal Gear Solid 2 Subsistence had a Tony Hawk collab where you could literally like play as Raiden and Snake in like a skateboarding kind of thing, which is pretty
Shredding
cool.
it.
Yeah, dude, it was so cool. And then like in Metal Gear Solid 3, there was a Ape Escape collab where you play as Snake and you have to collect all the monkeys that are like around the jungle. It was pretty cool.
Nice. It's a good collab.
That skating minigame though was like by far my favorite. It was so cool.
That would be fun. That would be. That's such a 2000s thing as well. You don't see anymore. Like you remember, you know what it makes me think of? You remember when Disney did crossovers, but they never really told you. So like they'd have,
Yeah,
let's say they have this. Take Hannah Montana for example. They'd take Hannah Montana, and they'd have another show like That's So Raven, and the character from That's So Raven would appear in Hannah Montana. But we're not just talking. Oh, it's an actor that's just playing a role in Hannah Montana. No, no, it's the character from That's So Raven coming into Hannah Montana and actually acting like a character and having the visions and everything. And they would have this
yeah,
crossover episode, and it blew your mind as a kid. You're like, what? They exist in the same world?
yeah,
Yeah, no, that was wild. So that's what made when you mentioned the fact that Tony Hawk and that crossover, I was like, yeah, that seems like something from the 2000s.
yeah. Like I would legit just like count that as canon in my own head. Like that, like I could just imagine like Solid Snake just like skating on like the
So
fucking tankers, dude. It was so fucking good.
Solid Snake just shredded, and that freaking made Liquid Snake melt to the ground.
Yep.
But now you okay, so that's from the PS2. But now PC wise, you just did CS:GO. CS:GO
Yeah.
had no DLCs, really.
Yeah. The only times I really got to experience DLCs is when I got a PS4 and then I got, I believe it was Assassin's Creed Unity, and obviously the DLC is free, so I was like, oh, okay, cool.
The Dead Kings one,
Uh,
yes.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, that was like the only time really. Like I was like pretty fresh. I was like a virgin to like gaming when I got the PS4, so
I mean, yeah,
pretty
that's
wicked.
also true. Like, I think you need to be. You'd actually really like a game to commit. See, that's the other thing. So you have two choices, which you can probably do when it comes to game because the thing is like it's the weird. There's three choices actually. I'll put it down to, but the two choices basically now is you really like a game, you buy it pretty early on, like what I did with
Yeah,
Cyberpunk, or like what I did with uh, what's the recent one I did, Pacific Drive. But you like pretty early on you buy the game, and then you play it, and then maybe if you're still interested when the DLCs come out, you buy the DLCs and you play that and whatever, and enjoy the game like that. Or you sit on the game because you don't want to play it immediately or get to it, and at some point when it goes on
mm.
sale, it's the specific edition with the DLCs included that goes on sale that you
Yep,
didn't buy.
yeah,
If you're again, if you're really interested in the game, maybe. But again, you
yeah.
can maybe
That's
just play the
I think
base game.
I think the good thing about PlayStation Plus, right, is that you don't fully own the game. So it's like if it gets taken off and you really want to like get the DLC, you can kind of just buy like the gold edition or the deluxe edition. So you'll get the
Yeah,
game and the DLC in one.
yeah. No, that's like what I'm thinking. It's like because it's rare that it's just rare that you'd ever experience like you have to be really sure about the DLC and stuff like that because it's more money. It's the fact of the matter nowadays.
Yeah,
It's more money. So either you felt like you made a good investment and you want to continue on that investment, or you're not sure of the investment and you're not going to spend that extra. Um, the only other one that kind of works, but it only works with a specific subset. It obviously is for live service games, is where you buy another also edition of the game, but now because it's you bought a specific edition, you get a pass, the season pass or whatever, or the year. What's it? They
yeah,
call the other one. They call it is the year one pass because then you get everything that's in year one
yep,
or whatever. I don't like that one. I'm just saying it's an option. Um, because I know a lot of the live service games, even the ones with a lot of DLC and content, do that. Good example, ESO, the Elder Scrolls Online one. Fantastic game.
Oh yeah.
A little bit grindy for my taste, as all of them are. Fantastic game in terms of lore and story and stuff like that, with a lot of great quests and like the world's massive. And if you've played all of the uh, like games in the series or know of all the games in the series, sorry.
Bless you.
Thank you. Now, if you know of all the games in the series and know of all the locations, a lot of the world seems familiar. So with
Yeah.
ESO, that's quite fun to play. But ESO has a thing inside of ESO, which is tied to your Elder Scrolls account or Bethesda account or whatever. It's like you can buy the game. I think the game was it free? I think it became.
Yeah, it is free. Yeah.
Okay, so ESO became free. I don't know if I played it when it was free or whatever,
Yeah, I
but
don't know. I think you did have to pay for it when it came out for the first time, but yeah, now it is free.
yeah, at some point. So you have that, and then you have what the subscription. But like we know, a lot of the publishers nowadays do it. You get the subscription within the game called ES Plus or ESO Plus or whatever, which is a subscription to the in-game stuff, which means it's basically like a year whatever pass. Because if you renew that subscription, you get all of the DLC content the moment it releases in the game.
Right.
So if you
Yeah,
do
yeah.
love the game, it's a very good option because it gives you access to every single DLC that comes. And it's not like, oh, they don't release DLC anymore. They have been releasing DLC. They released
Yeah.
DLC, I think, a few weeks ago again, and it's a 10-year-old game. They've released more DLC now. And they still, I know they still have DLC to release because a lot of the Skyrim world is not in the game yet. It's like this much of Skyrim is in the game at this point.
Ah.
So they need to release all of the Skyrim at some point. So that game is really churning out stuff. But again, it's like it's a weird model because again, I need to know. All right, I'm sitting here with a game that I'm going to spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours on, which I'm not worried about paying the subscription for, so I can get all the DLCs.
Yeah.
It's a little. This thing about DLCs, it's weird at this point. It's just a weird the way they market them. Because
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
like
Like
it just feels like
it,
that's the why I've played so little DLCs. Is like that's just the amount of games that I've been like that's just the amount of games that I've been invested that long in. So if I look back at the games I've invested a lot of time in, Rocket League, exceptional amount of time. There's no DLCs for Rocket League, so that one's out the window.
yeah.
Last of Us, I did get the DLC for. Well, I didn't get the DLC, but it like came with my game because of the edition that came with the. You know, remember those deals where you had the PS4, you bought the PS4, and it
Yeah.
comes with these games and it comes with these controllers for the price of whatever the bundle.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So my Last of Us was part of that bundle, and it happened to be the edition that contained DLC. So I did play the Last of Us DLC. Um, which another game I spent exceptionally long time in. Red Dead Redemption 2 spent quite a bit of time in that game. No DLCs whatsoever. It only has the online that doesn't get support anyway.
Yeah.
GTA same thing. No DLCs, which is very strange. I will point that out. Very strange indeed.
Yeah. You wanna know what's crazy though? Is that GTA 5 was meant to get single player DLC, but they just turned that into online
Online.
because I mean there's more people in online, so
They took
it's
a
bigger
gamble.
market.
I will say that online, when did online launch? Online launched in like 2014,
Was it
2015.
2014?
It's like
Oh.
I know a lot of us had internet at that point. That's still a gamble and a half for such a massive game to go and make servers and assume, okay, people are gonna play online and stuff like that regularly. And 10 years onwards from that, we're gonna take so long to release GTA 6 that I've bought all of our shark cards and all that.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're not bad at making DLC. GTA 4,
Yeah.
I think that one was Ballad of Gay Tony. That's a
Yeah,
fantastic
yeah.
DLC. I think GTA 3 itself was supposed to be, oh no, no, sorry, GTA, what's it, Liberty City. I think that one was supposed to be DLC for GTA 3 anyway. It just became its own game.
I think so. I'm not too sure on that.
One of those.
But maybe.
One of those. But I think it's Liberty City. I think it's Liberty City was supposed to be the DLC for GTA 3, but it just blew out of proportion, became its own game. When we've talked about this happens quite a lot now. The DLC blows out of proportion. They said like, we'll make a standalone game then from it.
Yeah, I mean, it would make sense, right?
No, like I said, they're capable of it. The other games I've spent a lot of time in, Death Stranding, no DLC for that one.
Yep.
Yeah, the other games that I've spent time in were all free to play stuff. Fortnite, no DLC, free to play. I don't have time in Apex, but that doesn't have DLC.
Nope. I mean, I will say this though. It's crazy you did not mention Destiny.
Oh yeah, Destiny's DLCs I got for free because I kept piggybacking off of Dylan technically. If you want to count that. Well, that and when we got into the game, so the game obviously was not free to play to begin with. It became free to play. So we both got it once it became free to play. And like I said, the DLCs in the beginning were good. We started off with the bombshell of a DLC where one of the main character dies. One of the main characters die. That was a bombshell of the first DLC. To get back into, and it was fantastic because it was a new part of the DLCs fairly in terms of like their model was quite good because it was new story, new planets and stuff to explore. Usually like a new enemy or whatever, or mutation of an enemy or variants, whatever, and new stuff, new guns and all that. So it was the perfect model, especially for a live service game. That one was quite good. You had Shadow Moon. I can't remember the one that was on the moon itself. That DLC was quite good. Um, you had what was the one after that? I can't remember the one too well after that, but it was a few DLCs that were quite good. And then like I said, we got burnt out quite a bit, so we moved on from it. But the DLCs after that were quite like the problem we had with Destiny was these DLCs. I think usually released every 6 months or so. I can't remember quite well. And well, COVID unfortunately screwed a bit over because COVID pushed a lot of stuff back. And I think what happened was you had seasons in between, and they'd like say, "Oh, come back for a season of the whatever. We've got some new items and some new guns." But like you'd finish most of the quests that you can do in the season, let's say in the first week of a 3 month season or 2 month season or whatever, and you'd sit there for the rest of the 2 months or whatever, grinding your ass off to get to the power level, just to know, oh, next season the power level or something, if I can't remember, is going up again or whatever. Like, oh,
Classic.
Beyond Light was the other one, but that was quite a good DLC as well because that introduced a new class, like a new. You had usually solar powers, void powers, lightning powers, and then you got now frozen powers like ice powers. That was quite an important DLC. But yeah, no, it was just baffling because at some point like the content like they quite try to keep goading us to go back into content, but like 2 months I had to spend grinding before something new shows up. Like after a while, I just got burnt out by that. So yes, I do have a lot of time in Destiny, a lot of regretted time in the end in Destiny with my friends. But like I said, the DLCs I did get for free, and I did enjoy some of them, but they kind of petered out because the model didn't work anymore. So that was a weird one. Um, I've mentioned Witcher. That's the one I've got one. So the only two that really stand up in terms of time wise that I've definitely spent. So what I'm boiling down to is basically only DLC I've ever bought with my own money that I didn't get accidentally and that I thought was okay. I'm making this investment into DLC because I like the game. The only one so far was Phantom Liberty. that's what it boils down to.
That's crazy. Yeah.
And I've played quite a bit now. Obviously not too many, but I've played quite a bit now, and now I know even like the only one I've paid for and I've made investment in turned out to be my favorite. But look how long it took me. I've
Yeah.
I've been playing my own games now for like 10, maybe not 10 years, 7 years, 7 years more or less. Yeah, 7 years, 8 years. And this is the first DLC that I was willing to pay for. So, I mean,
Jesus.
it's weird to market it like that. Like, I feel like it's just weird that games have gone about this marketing it like this when I feel like if you may release your game with the idea of making DLC, but making DLC free, like for example what God of War did, and you communicate that to people saying, listen, we're gonna make DLC for this game and it's gonna be free, but it's gonna be in a few months' time. I think you could get sales for your game quite nicely.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
think that's yes, you'll probably make more money by selling the DLC or whatever, or selling your editions or whatever. I just feel like you get a lot more goodwill and you still get good sales out of just making your game like giving the full game for the price in the beginning, not like
Mm-hmm.
tossing around with 10 different prices in the end with 10 different
Yep.
items and stuff you need to buy. It gets frustrating at a point.
Yeah,
It
it's all
does.
Ubisoft that.
Yeah, you and when you saw that what was that game you saw with
It was the new Star Wars
the new
game that's
Star
coming out
Wars one,
from
the Star
them.
Wars Outlaws one, Hoopy.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't know if I wouldn't get another Star Wars game at this point really now.
You know what I find weird though is that like is the Star Wars IP like open to anyone? Because like what happened to Respawn with their Star Wars game?
Well, they did do the two ones. They did well. That's technically under EA, but they did Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor. Jedi
Yeah.
Survivor had quite that horrible port to Switch, I remember, and quite a lot of crashes on launch. And then it recovered mostly. I think Jedi Survivor, Fallen Order, I do remember just more fondly than Survivor. I don't know if that's just because of the launch and stuff, but I remember Fallen Order is more fondly thought of than Survivor. I'm not too sure. Um, what was the other one? But yeah, no, I think the IP is just like you have to sign on for it. But Ubisoft has been doing that lately. Don't you remember the Avatar game?
Yeah.
So I mean, I think Ubisoft's approach to quite a lot of these has been like, oh, we're gonna try out movies in video games.
I mean, why can't you just make like fucking good games instead of like movie games, bro? Like, come on. It's not that hard, man.
Yeah,
Make an
but
actual good Assassin's Creed.
yeah, Ubisoft needs to get their mojo back first. They've been catching a few strays quite lately again. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think now. Now the last one I really think is like, do you feel there's any game, if you had to look back, that needed the DLC that you'd like to have seen a DLC for, and what like specific about it?
Mm, a game that needed a DLC.
Hmm.
I mean, I would like some like GTA DLC. I
I'd
think that'd be pretty cool.
I'd sit on that. Like I'd really, if there was one studio I'd be clamoring for DLC, it's Rockstar. Just knowing that, like,
Yeah, especially with like Red Dead Redemption's like Undead. Like that was like they can
yeah,
do a good DLC.
like I'd be down for Undead Nightmare too. I wouldn't mind, especially
Yeah.
if I have the modern setting. You can even go a completely different direction. Say you had zombies the first one, but you had vampires in the second one for whatever reason.
Yeah. That would be cool.
Because I feel like it makes the weight between the two games a little bit lighter. Like, what
Yeah.
the weight between Red Dead Redemption 1 and Red Dead Redemption 2 was 7 years. The wait between GTA 5 and GTA 6 is 12 years at this point. 13 if they delay it, because rumors are they might delay it.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, dude. Like it's a huge project and like anything can fucking happen. So
Yeah, and I've ever felt like if there's ever a game, I thought Cyberpunk was gonna have a lot of hype and a lot of expectations stuff like that. I think this has to be the most expectation of any video game in history at this point. Is it's what GTA 6.
yeah, but do you have like some worry that like it releases in like a buggy state? Like, could you imagine a fucking
Yeah,
hype for like what 13 years or whatever,
when
and
they
it's
do that.
like have and it's like, man, there's no way they release this buggy. Like, there's no way.
I
That
have
would
a
actually like
I don't know.
that would be fucking
I have
crazy.
a little bit of faith in Rockstar. I'm gonna be honest. I don't recall. There's very little Rockstar games I recall that were bad. I don't recall a
Yeah,
lot
like
of them.
that's the thing. It's like they are one of the game studios that is like, well, not one, but they're like one of the few that are like that actually polish their games out.
Mm. But I think they're quite transparent about like how long it takes. They're greedy. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
take it away from them. They are
Oh yeah,
greedy.
for
I've seen
sure.
their online stuff. They are greedy, but they do make a good game. They do make a good game
Yeah.
that people enjoy quite a lot. So yeah, my thinking is it won't do bad on launch. I don't think so. What in terms of the story of GTA stuff, I think it might be weaker. Like I don't want to jinx it, but I think it might be a weaker story in terms of like I'll put it this way: GTA 5 story for me is not as good as, for example, the older games as ones, like GTA 4, San Andreas, stuff like that. But as a game, it's better, in a way, if I can put it that way. As a game, it's better, but story-wise, it's weaker. I think what's gonna happen is the same's gonna happen now, carrying over to the next one. I think we're gonna get a slightly weaker story, maybe, but I think we're gonna get a much better game because it's been.
Yeah.
Remember, GTA 5 was released literally at the launch almost of PlayStation 4. We're talking about GTA
Yeah.
6 is probably getting released 6 years into the PS5.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
like, I think in terms of a game, we're gonna get something massive, something really massive. But we'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe that one gets DLC. Like, because the thing is, I'm trying to think now is what do they do with GTA Online? They won't.
Well, they're obviously gonna make another online in GTA 6. Like, I think we all know that. Like,
But do they
they'll
do?
probably
Do they
shut down. Like,
pull a Warzone 2? Do they say we've made
I
Warzone
think
1
so.
and we make a Warzone 2, or do you think there's just going to be a massive patch to the GTA Online that's going to change everything?
No, I think they'll just revamp it with an entire new engine. Uh, obviously, like you know,
Mm.
like I don't think they'll. I think they'll just shut down like GTA 5, like the online, and it'll be like the Overwatch where it's like, oh hey, you can't play online on here, so go in and get GTA 6 to play it.
And that one, that's the most risk. I think in terms of what they do with the online is going to be quite because uh, Red Dead's online didn't launch obviously immediately. We had
Yeah,
Red Dead Redemption, I think, for 6 months before the online came. Like just a single player, which is fine. It's fantastic as a single player game. But yeah, I'm just wondering now. But anyway, like I said, my biggest thing is like if they ever have to make DLC, now would be a great time. Like while people are waiting for the new online stuff, make a single player DLC. Release a single player DLC.
yeah,
The only
yeah. I
other
don't know, man.
yeah, I'm trying to think now of games I've played. I'm trying to think also of genre wise what DLCs would I have liked because
Nothing live service.
the thing I like about DLC is quite a cool thing that other DLCs have done. Is if they're a franchise and they make DLCs and it's about going back to old places in the franchise. So, for example, Skyrim had a Soulstime DLC. Soulstime, if I remember correctly, is from Morrowind. The is that the town or something from Morrowind. So that was quite
Yeah,
interesting to experience that again because I've never played Morrowind, but seeing the town and seeing how it like is a callback to all those games was quite nice. So I'll take a random example. Is like if I really, you know what I really would have liked is like say in a Need for Speed, this would have been cool. Every time we're in a Need for Speed, we go to a different city. But what if we had a DLC where you literally go back to a city we've been in before, and like you could insert your blank here about like which city that's supposed to be. For example, that way we don't need to reboot the damn game every single time to play wherever we want. Because this year apparently we're getting another. I think this is a proper remake. I'm not too sure. I'm gonna have to Google after this podcast, but I think it's another model Most Wanted reboot.
Bro, don't do that to me. Don't do that shit to me, bro.
I'll confirm for you. But like I said, now what I'm thinking is, why don't we just make a new game? We make a new game of Need for Speed, whatever, like Florida. Say it's in bloody Florida for your sake.
Florida, out of all
Florida, man.
places, dude.
Hey, GTA 6 is set in Florida, dude. We might as well just go there as
It's
well.
Miami, dude. Fuck
Yeah.
yeah.
So, no, what I'm thinking is like, go to Florida, but in some random DLC, you get a call from this guy freaking challenging you to a race, and you go to Rockport, and you can have your entire DLC in Rockport, where where Most Wanted 2005 and Carbon took place. What a nice DLC that would be, because it's a little bit of a callback to your previous stuff that people liked. Or go to the uh, I don't know the city's names in Underground. You can go to
It's
Fairhaven.
Bayview.
You can go to Redview County. That's Rivals as one. I don't remember Hot Pursuits one, but you can go there. Like it would be such a nice thing to just make a callback for your fans, because people would buy that. I mean, they've
Or,
played the old games. They want to see the new version of
but
the map.
here's a better idea. Instead of making a DLC of like a previously visited area, just
Mm.
remake the games. Easy.
Well, you'd think they'd know that, but they have the only remake they've made, which kind of feels like a testament to they know. That's the thing I didn't even talk about in my recent Need for Speed video. Is like I said all the modern.
Which everyone should go watch, by the way.
Yes, of course, it's shameless plug over here. Um, so they've done all their modern Need for Speed games, and I'd said they've hopped around so bloody much because they couldn't decide on what type of game they wanted to be. But you can clearly tell which game
Yeah.
they think they should have been this whole time, because what is the only game they've remade so far? Like, no, I'm talking just a remake, not a or a remaster. Sorry, not a like, oh, it's a spiritual successor, or oh, it's a reimagining like Most Wanted 2012, like a remaster. What's the only remaster they've done so far?
Rivals.
No, they haven't remastered Rivals.
Wait, they haven't? Oh, fucking Hot Pursuits, isn't it?
Hot Pursuits is the only one they've gone and remastered, which maybe now the Most Wanted one, as I've mentioned, but now that tells me through all their bloody modern ones they've gone and done, they clearly think, oh, the most popular one that people like the most is Hot Pursuit. We'll remaster it. Why can't you just make more games like that in the first place, you stupid people? Then we wouldn't have
Yeah.
this problem. Like they've gone
Yeah, I
and
don't know.
mucked about so much they don't even know what they want to do anymore.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like to us players, we like know what we want, but developers are like completely the opposite. They're like, actually, our players don't want this, so we're not gonna do it.
No, but that's the thing is like even in software we learned this. It's just shocking to see it translates this well to even gaming. There's literally a rule in software where you get this middleman, which is supposed to be a business or a systems analyst or whatever. Because literally what happens is the clients, that's us by the way, the people who want the game, we tell them,
Yeah.
we give feedback about what type of game we want. The developers over here are thinking about it and saying, okay, so let's say me and you say, oh, we want a shooter game that has portals so we can teleport anywhere, and in this teleporting shooter game, we also want to be able to drive vehicles, and we also want, you know, let's say a massive open world. That's what we
Mm.
want. Now the developers are sitting there thinking like, that's a lot of that like a lot of that logistically is we're struggling to put that in like yes, we can make vehicles and open world in the shooter, but that teleporting part, that's a bit whack. We don't know if we can implement that because like it's in a clash of a lot of stuff, especially in open world, and create a lot of logistical problems. So like, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to sit down, have a discourse, especially with the middleman, the analyst or whatever, to like to like communicate with both sides. Is to say like, listen, the teleporting won't work in this setting. You're gonna have to have a different approach. Maybe what you want is like just fast vehicle. What you want is some fast travel. What you want is this. What you want is that. And the opposite is also true for the developers. When they develop the game, say they're making a first person shooter, they develop the game, first person shooter, what they have in mind is, oh, you know what our players would like with a first person shooter is, what if you, like, this is now, let's say you're making Splitgate, right? You remember how Splitgate works? Just a casual shooter game with some teleporters, and you can shoot for teleporters. It's cool like that. But they said on their side, what if we make like this? Is not developers talk. What if we make it realistic that the game doesn't auto reload for you or anything? Like we're gonna make it like Rainbow, where you have to reload the gun yourself. Otherwise, the gun doesn't reload. Now, that's fine in the shooter, but when you're playing a fast-paced shooter like Splitgate, that's a really bad design choice. Because, like, think about it. I'm trying to go at a million miles an hour, going through portals and stuff and shooting people, but now I've got to bloody remember the stupid input the whole time because that's how you've implemented it. So now the analyst is supposed to come in and say, "Are you sure you want to do that? Because like this game seems a bit fast for something that's supposed to be a realistic part like Rainbow Six, where you try to be tactical and stuff." So that's what's
I
supposed to
don't know,
happen, and
dude.
clearly somewhere we're missing the mark on both sides.
Yeah, I don't know. I just find it hilarious on like developers are like, okay, so here's a product, right?
Yeah.
And then they release it. It doesn't do well. And then
Why?
they're like, okay,
Why?
yeah. So then they're like to the players, okay, so what game do you like? Fans give them like ideas, and then everyone like comes to an agreement like this is what we want, and then developers like take that in, they develop another game, but then they make something completely opposite to that, and then they release it, doesn't do well, and they're like, oh,
Shocked
why is our
Pikachu
game not
face.
succeeding? Yeah, like
What? This is what you wanted.
yeah, bro, that's literally like Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League.
Mm, oof, that one also had its. Well, that's not a DLC. It's got its year one content out now, I think, which is not
Yep.
technically DLC or whatever, but the Joker stuff, I think. But it's struggling.
Yeah.
I think it's already struggling and down in the mud. It's already, and that's the
And
thing.
like it's crazy because like it's made by Rocksteady. Like it's the guys that made fucking Batman, like Arkham
Yeah,
Asylum, all those games.
yeah.
And it's like, what are you guys doing?
No, I don't know either. But that's the thing. Like even DLCs can also have a good effect on your games. Like it didn't have an effect too much in Kill the Justice League. The base game already did much of that work. But yeah, you get
Yeah.
some of these where DLCs or content that comes in throughout can really make or break a game.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember of a game that really got broken by DLCs. I know for a fact the old Tekken 7, got pretty broken by a lot of DLCs, but it's to be expected because it was a fighting game and you're working with a lot of balancing and stuff. So what would happen is every time a DLC character would come in, all hell would break loose because it'd be meta. They'd be meta.
Yeah, classic.
So it'd be disastrous. They've pulled it back a little
Yeah.
bit. They're fighting their own demons at this point. I don't know if you've heard all the drama around Tekken 8. They're fighting their own demons at
No.
this point. The DLC is fine. Eddie is the DLC character. He's pretty balanced. He's okay. He's just new and no one knows him, but he's not strong. I've played against him a few times. There's other drama. I don't know what it is about Japanese developers. This has to be something that they have a policy against or something. They hate modding. They hate modding so much.
Classic.
There's a
It's like
war.
Nintendo, dude.
There's a war against from modders against Bandai Namco at this point. It's a war because they do not want the modders at all. They really don't.
Oh, wait, so why?
I don't know, because it has to be a thing of like they feel like modding is cheating. That's what Capcom said. You know, Capcom. There was a literal, I think, a quote taken out from high up or whatever. And he said, "Modding is basically cheating. Even if it's for single player games, you're cheating the system." And
Okay.
yeah, sorry, my Thomas the Tank Engine freaking villain from Resident Evil is cheating somehow. Because I'm not scaring myself anymore. Oh, sorry. So, but like that's what Capcom did. They not only at that point, I think it was the Resident Evil remake number 3 or something. At this point,
Yeah.
they not only banned modding from that game, they went and put software in all of their games, even the old Resident Evils. They put all the software in all of their games and killed all modding in every single one of their
That's
games.
crazy.
They did that. Tekken 8's having a war on modders that they can't mod the game or whatever. And they've having serious, like they've now have a battle pass, which I'm not even bothering to look at, which people need to pay for, which was not going to be advertised, which was not advertised about the game at all in the beginning. So they're fighting their own demons. Nintendo, as you mentioned, hates modders with passion and emulation.
Yep.
Hates them with a
Mm-hmm.
passion. Who's that other one? Sony. Sony hates modders as well. The
Really?
No, because what happened was you know the PlayStation Portal.
Yeah.
Did you hear that story about like what some of the developers did?
No, what do they do?
So the PlayStation Portal is a pretty good device with a very limited capacity that I find very stupid. Is it obviously is that thing that like it kind of works like you put the controllers and with a beautiful like portable screen like this, it looks beautiful, it runs beautiful. It only works if your PlayStation is turned on and if you're connected to the same Wi-Fi as your PlayStation.
What? Okay,
So,
dude, there's no way.
so what you're telling me is the problem of that is like the only context I can think of that working is either A, you want to sit for some reason and play on your bed with a screen like this instead of just playing on your TV, or B, someone
Yeah.
else is playing, like say a sibling or partner or whatever, someone else is playing on the PlayStation and you're just playing on your portable thing because they've got the screen. Those
Hmm.
are the two situations that I can think of that it can work in. Otherwise, it can't. It doesn't because you can't go on the go. It just doesn't work. You're not on the same Wi-Fi. You can't go too far from your house because you're going to be outside of the Wi-Fi range. So,
Yep.
and then what developers did was they figured out a way to mod their system so that it can work like a PSP, like a literal PSP
Oh
way.
nah.
So you can go on the go, play your games and everything, and like be basically a portable gaming console is what it's supposed to be. And they had
Yeah.
this internal debate of like, should we tell the higher ups? Because then like I don't think they're gonna let it fly. Um, I think they're not gonna like it, or we can try and keep it hush hush. But the thing is like the problem is if it comes out, if it's leaked, that people have figured us out, we're gonna get in trouble because they're gonna ask, did we know about this or why didn't we do anything about it? So they
Yeah.
decided to tell the people, the high ups at Sony about it, and the first thing they did is they put a firmware update and it killed all the modding, and you can't make it a PSP anymore. Because
That's bro.
uh, they hate modding. I'm telling you, there has to be something. There's no way 3 different companies from Japan can all unanimously decide this. There has to be some sort of policy that we don't know about that they hate modding. It has to be. I don't believe it otherwise.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, dude.
Yeah,
But like, modding isn't even that bad though. Like, it's just people that are going the extra mile. And
I
like,
know.
dude, it's actually illegal.
It's like the only time I would find it illegal is if they would profiteer from it. If they're going out there and they
Yeah.
are commercially selling this or making money off of stuff they don't own, then I'd say no, that's wrong. Like the same way the one emulator that Nintendo shut down, the people were starting to make money off of it because they were trying to sell
Oh
stuff on the
yeah, I
emulator.
remember that.
That I said like, okay, that's illegal. Like Nintendo was going to have to shut that down. But like I said, if I'm modding a bloody game to make a funny character in it or have a funny skin, there's no way, shape, or form that at any point constitutes anything about your game. Like if I want a Dark Souls
Yeah,
character and I want him to look like frickin' Woody from Toy Story, let me make bloody Woody from Toy Story jump around and like fight me like an Elden Ring boss. Like,
yeah,
it makes zero impact. Except like maybe a YouTube video. That's all it will do. I'll release a YouTube video saying like Woody is frickin' OP, guys. Look at this.
yeah. Just see Woody with like 2 great swords.
Yeah, he does that whole oh gosh, guys, in his third phase, he just like starts.
Yeah.
Anyhow, but yeah, that's our DLC of the DLC podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed our little rants and raves. Was a little bit of a nice way to speak about more of our favorite stuff and more of our favorite things and least favorite things about DLCs. I don't know if you've got anything else on your mind or want to add about like DLCs.
No, I think we touched on everything that we wanted to talk about, so I'm fine.
Any DLCs you're looking forward to? That's maybe the last one I can think of. Any DLCs you're looking forward to?
Oh, Elden Ring.
I was
I'm
gonna
looking
say,
very forward
it
to
has
that.
to be Shadow of the Erdtree for you. It has to be Shadow of the Erdtree.
Yeah,
So,
I think that's something that I'm very hyped for sure.
because that's coming June.
Yeah, 21st June.
So you're getting it first thing, just picking it up,
Yep.
killing all the bosses.
Mm-hmm. Yup.
There you go. I don't.
Yeah, I think I think a DLC that I also want to experience. So obviously, like I've been playing through Bloodborne, right? And
The
obviously it
old
has like its
Hunters one.
DLC. Yeah, I really want to play that because I think that would be pretty cool. But also another game is Ghost Runner. I really want to play the DLC for that.
Isn't it Project Hell? That's the one where you
Yeah,
the other person, the other you fight her. I think as the second boss or something.
yeah.
Yes, I remember her. I remember her. I was thinking about her as well, but I was like, geez, I struggled with the base game. I don't know if I can get through Project Hell.
Bro, it'll be easy. Just
Mm,
trust.
that would be a pretty good DLC, honestly, to talk about as well. The only DLC I can think of. See, it's not a DLC that's probably currently in the works. I would love to see a DLC for Pacific Drive, given that I now understand how the game works and stuff like that. Because I'd love to see what other ideas they might have had that obviously they didn't make in their first game. Because I haven't completed
Yeah.
the game, but I just more or less think I don't think there will be a Pacific Drive 2. So I'd like to see a DLC of it before that's the last we'll see of the
Oh
game.
yeah.
Uh,
Oh,
what is DLC that I
I
know that?
also
Yeah.
I also know what game I wanted to add.
Mm,
Liza P.
yeah.
Apparently, they are working on a DLC for the game, and then
Mm,
eventually a sequel, which is pretty exciting.
okay. So what's the sequel? Pinocchio cuts off his string as a puppet and is a free boy.
Yeah, and then he commits mass genocide.
Yeah, that, like you're gonna have to be the old man Geppetto over there, and you have to like kill your creation.
Dude, it will literally just be like Bloodborne, where it's like everything just like repeats itself.
Nightmare. Basically reliving a
Yeah.
nightmare. What is the DLC that's coming out? Because now I have to think about recent games. Uh, I can't think of any. The only ones that come to mind is I would like to see. I don't know. I haven't played the games. It's maybe a Spider-Man DLC, but I haven't played the Spider-Man DLCs.
I
What is
remember I
Spider-Man?
did buy it, but I mean, it's kind of like, whatever, dude.
Oh yes,
I
you
think,
told me
no,
the one about Black Cat. No, not Black Cat. What's her name?
yeah, yeah.
I
It
know
was
which one
Black
you're
Cats,
talking
and
about.
then it was Black Cats, some other like crime boss, and then
Kingpin,
what was the
probably.
other one? I don't know. There was another one.
Okay. No, I can't think of any DLCs. But I think as long as the gaming can give us some more free things or make games good enough that we warrant to pay for DLCs, because yeah, otherwise I think we're gonna miss out, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks again for joining me, Mr. Slowly. Um,
Yeah, anytime, man.
Thanks again for those of you who will listen to the second part of this. And like I said, this is I think is a more comment section friendly one. So if you have your favorite DLCs, rant and rave about DLCs, if you have looking forward to any of them, or just have anything to say, pop it down below. I'll definitely have a look. But until then, I hope you guys enjoyed this little podcast, this little listen. Until the next one, you guys stay safe. Have a lovely day further, and we'll chat soon, everybody.